Hey guys, welcome back. Today I'm going to be covering my match with BlackOracle in GhostDog's David&Goliath Winter Clash. I'll leave a link to GhostDog's channel in the description. BlackOracle doesn't actually have a channel, so I can't link anything for him. But this is going to be a pretty interesting one. He's got a very good roster, he's a very solid player. But there is a bit of a rule in this match that I forget about, and it ends up costing me one of them. So the rule is that you're allowed to have your strikers equipped, but you're not allowed to use them. And going into this, I completely forgot about that. And it doesn't affect me in a few, I think 3 of the rounds, but in one of them it definitely does. So I'll get to that when we get there. But onto this first one. The draft here, I don't mind it. It's not the best I've ever had, but I can work with it. So I think he places, I want to say he places Korg first. Yeah. I'll be honest, this match was done about a week or 2 ago, so I can't quite remember exactly what happened, so bear with me. So I ended up placing Havoc, just trying to bait out his Nimrod. I kind of threw this one, I think. I knew that Diablo could do this, but I didn't think it'd really go well. I just thought that getting his Nimrod out of the way would be beneficial. So the plan in this fight is literally just to bait out his rock field and then start building up poisons. Trying to keep the special 1 rotation going, just so that I can keep the nullify up. You can see there, Philosopher's Mix and the pre-fight I selected. Throw heavy in mid-air, but the pre-fight just does nullify every armor up buff that starts to appear. But it is a little bit tricky to work around that and the rock field. I managed to time it pretty much perfectly there. And that actually, I think I pressed it as I pressed the special button as I drained my power. So it didn't actually trigger the bar of power being used. I'm not sure if that's exactly what happened, but by the looks of it, I didn't lose power from using that special one. That's weird. Anyway, this is going a lot better than I expected it to. I wasn't expecting to have him nearly down in 90 seconds. So this did quite surprise me a bit. I completely messed that up. I forget about the unstoppable. Special 2, and this is over. And he's still in the fight, so there is still a little bit of hope in this one. And if I do win this round, it'll make the next 2 a lot easier. Let's just say that. And to my surprise, he actually ends up timing out to this. Yeah, I wasn't expecting him to do that little damage against a Havoc with Nimrod. I know he's got really high energy resistance, but still I was expecting him to at least get the fight down. But to my surprise, yeah, that's probably the best play I could have gone for. So I end up placing Thing here. I'm trying to bait out his Falcon in case this goes to round 3. I didn't expect to win this one, by any means, because I knew he had either Nick or Terex or Domino that could definitely do a better job of a defender than what I had. So there's nothing really special about this, is literally just parry heavy and hope I get good RNG. 2 bleeds there to start, poison, and 1 euro up, that's not too bad. 3, yep, the fight's pretty much over at this point. if you get 3 Neuros up and shut off the node in the first life, then you're near golden. You just need to not get hit, which I know I'm very good at, but hopefully, I say hopefully, I know what happens, but just try and play this as safe as possible, really. And I know I'm probably not going to win this, but I could at least try to. Bait out a heavy there, change special 1 into the heavy, and yep, as I said earlier, I'm very good at getting hit. That pretty much threw this one away. One more combo, and the health difference, actually it wouldn't have really made a difference even if I'd have finished at 100%. He still finished at higher health and did it faster, so. And also the time difference wouldn't have made up for it. So I wasn't winning that one anyway. In this one though, I noticed that he has to place first. He places Wiccan, so I end up placing my Hulkling, just because he's got less of a counter than if I were to place Terrax. Because I know, if I were to place Terrax, if I was to place Nimrod, and he were to use Terrax for that, I feel like that Hulkling's a worse matchup overall. So yeah, he goes with Terrax here, and I think I go with Tigra. Now, I'll be honest, I've never done this matchup before, but I know this is a rank 3 Wiccan, so I'm not too worried about it. The one thing I knew not to do was parry. Like, I knew if I didn't parry, I'd be fine, but what do? At the first instance, I parry. Because that neutralise actually stops the unblockable from Tigra's specials from triggering. So counter 1 more heavy, go for the special 2. He decks the first hit. It's kind of sketchy. I got really lucky there with the 10% miss chance triggering, and that's pretty much the only thing that saved me in this fight. I didn't know the spacing, so I tried dashing in to miss the special 2 completely, but the hit had already connected before I could charge my heavy. But because of Tigra's base 10% chance to miss on projectiles when she's got the blue sense activated, that pretty much saved me. While we're in this draft, I'll talk about bans quickly. He actually changed his bans from what he started with. I can't remember what he started with, but he bans Tigra, Longshot and Gallon this time. The first time he didn't ban Gallon, or he didn't ban Tigra, and he banned somebody else. And I can't remember who he left open. But for mine, I think I stick with the same 3 the whole way through, with Sasquatch, Captain Sam and Valkyrie. Sasquatch, I just don't want to fight a rank 4 Sasquatch with the limited science attackers that I've got. And for Cap Sam, I don't have that many armor break champs anymore. I changed my deck around for this a little bit. And then Valkyrie, I know she can deal with, or she can work around the node and deal with annoying defenders without actually hitting them. So in this one, I go for Hulkling versus Havoc, and he goes for Archangel versus my Weapon X. I thought that if I could play around the detonation, then maybe I could come out of this better, and also hope that he doesn't have the good RNG. But yeah, I don't know if it's because he's unduped. I noticed a comment from Mosier, thank you for letting me know about this, but he mentioned that the main reason that my fights are slower is just because of the awakened ability for Hulkling. Just the extra duration on the Furies, it's really shortening the length of fights. I can see that, and I'm not 100% sure. Like, I know it's worth it, but right now I'm not really enjoying Hulkling enough to want to invest in him more. Like, don't get me wrong, he's really good, but he's just not necessarily my champ, if that makes sense. Like, I'm just not too fond personally. I don't know if I'm crazy or... Yeah, it could be. I don't know. Anyway, I unfortunately take a big detonation at the end there, and I think that actually I wanted to say it cost me, but looking back now, I don't think it did. Like, I think I still would have lost even if that didn't, if I didn't take that damage. So I'm in a little bit of a sticky situation here, because he has counters to pretty much everybody I've got. So he places Thing, I place Toad to try and bait out his Hulkling, so that if it does go to the next round, I can place Nick, and he won't have a counter. So I use Kingpin here, and this is where what I was talking about earlier with the strikers comes into play. I did speak to one of the tournament organisers about this, and they mentioned that if the striker were to make a detrimental impact on the fight, so if they basically determined whether you win or lose based on losing a striker, then it doesn't count. But spoiler alert, I do lose this fight. But because I lost anyway, it didn't really matter. But, like, up until this point, I completely forgot about the rule. And even past this, I forgot about the rule. It was later on where it does come into play. But you'll see here. Not right here. I think, yes. Anyway, this fight I do end up using a striker, but because I lose anyway, it didn't really matter. And I need GhostDog to confirm this, but because I lost it didn't really make a difference, so it doesn't matter whether I use the striker or not. Yeah, there. And at this point I was still completely oblivious to it, so I used it and then didn't think there was any problem. But this fight, regardless, is going a lot slower than I would have liked it to. I've done this fight a lot faster before, it's just this time I don't know why I didn't, but it was a lot slower. I get out of the fight, and he's still going, to my surprise, but then he wins it. So, because I lost that one, I don't think it really made a difference on whether the striker actually meant anything. So we both go with the same bands in this next one. I can't remember what actually happened here. I can't remember if it was this match or the next match where it happened again. I do pick Kingpin again, so it could be this one. Oh wait, no, it wasn't this one. I remember this one, because I realised that I played my cards horribly. Yeah, so with this one, what I should have done is basically swapped who I used round 1 and 2. So he places Nimrod here for round 1, and I think I placed Korg. Yeah, I placed Korg. And then the big mistake is that I should have used Venom here and saved Annihilus for Civil Warrior, because Venom's probably going to do better against Nimrod than Annihilus is, because he can't get the arm breaks. But I end up using an Nihilus here anyway. And also, if I were to do a Nihilus versus Civil Warrior, that might actually have been good for the showcase that I'm gonna put together. So I've not been playing Battlegrounds much, so I've not really made, or I've not got many clips for the Nihilus showcase yet. I've not done anything with the Toad one because the metas haven't really lined up for him, apart from this Power Shield one, which, if I ever draft him, then I'll record some stuff with him. But with a Nihilus, there's not really, I've not really played the Victory Track meta since I got out of it, because I just haven't really been having fun with it. Regardless, this isn't really the best fight for Nihilus, purely because he can't really take advantage of the big armor breaks, and he has to stall due to long special animations. And also, if I push him to special 2, which I do multiple times in this fight, I'll have to worry about the unstoppable as well, which just means that all the debuffs fall off a lot quicker. Yeah, so, and also the Fury buffs that I get from the special 2 will also fall off a lot quicker because of the unstoppable. I'll get the odd nice crit like there, like that was nearly a 7k crit. But I still think this would have been much better against Civil Warrior, and Venom would have done a lot better here. Here I get very greedy. And I knew I'd time out, but I didn't really want him to throw the special 3, obviously. That was a big mistake by me. I should have waited a little bit and then gone for it, and because of that, that actually costs me. Eating that special 3 and not being patient costs me this match. I say this match, this round. So now I'm fighting a losing battle and I have to win this one. And this is what I meant when I said I probably should have used Nihilus here instead of Venom. He's going to play Civil Warrior and use his Warlock for my Havoc. Yep. So I use Venom here. And this definitely isn't as fast as what a rank 4 Nihilus could have done, especially if I'd have thrown the first round, like intentionally, or even used Venom. Obviously my luck, I start with 2 physical resistant and armor, but I just kind of need to get lucky with crits. Like I know that the bleed ability actually is not going to do anything, I just need to crit through his armor a lot, and luckily I get precisions to do that. I've got 2 precisions at the moment, which is quite fortunate. Go for a big special 2 here. Just hope to crit through all the armor that he's got. Luckily I get another precision. He's got 20 armor ups at the moment, which is definitely not good for me. Go for the heavy attack there, try and get rid of the armor up. Throw another big special 2, and he's almost in the true strike range, which is really good, because now I can just bypass all of that armor. 35 armor up buffs at the end, and you'll see here in a second that this was ridiculously close. Like if I'd have got maybe like 2 or 3 crits less, that was the deciding factor. So I definitely should have saved a Nihilus for this fight and then gone for Venom on the first one. Who knows, I may have even won the first one if I'd have done that. But at round 3, I think that the best option I had was to go with go with Mojo on defense. I think he placed Null, yeah. He placed Null, so I placed Mojo. I didn't want to place anybody else because I knew he'd melt them with Hulkling. So I placed Mojo, so he's forced to use his Titania, and I'm just hoping that I can do this fight quicker, since Null pretty much feeds Kingpin damage. Got very lucky there with 2 big crits on the heavy attacks. And this guy's just being nuked down already. Like, we're about 15 seconds in, and he's already nearly at 50%. Trying to bait out a special 2 here. Clean decks. Go for another special 1, just lower the ability accuracy. I know he takes less damage from degen, but it's not the degen really that I'm banking on. It's more the ability accuracy reduction. One more special 1 and it's over. I come out of the fight and he's not done yet. And by this point I know that even if he does finish at 100% health, he's not going to come out on time. So now I am up 2-1. Onto this match. So this is definitely the one that I forget about the rule again and then realise where I've gone wrong. So he places Korg, I go for Kingpin. And I think he goes for Hulkling here. Yeah. And that gets rid of his Hulkling for any future fights. Which is what my aim was originally. Like, try and get rid of his Hulkling. He's trying to debate whether to go for Hulkling or Claire. Locks in Hulkling, and you'll see here that I do end up using my striker at some point again, which I shouldn't have done. I'll point out the point where I realise it. But, spoiler alert again, I do end up losing this round. And because it happened twice in this overall match against Oracle, I did speak to one of the tournament organisers and showed them exactly what happened and where it happened. And because I lost both of the rounds that I used strikers, then it doesn't really make much of a difference, because the strikers are only really banned, or I say banned, the strikers are only prohibited if you win the round that you use them in, and it's the strikers that make the difference. Like, say if your opponent's at a special 3, you do a 5 combo, use a striker, and then one more combo gets them down. If they'd have thrown that special 3, you'd have lost a lot of health, and that could have been it, losing the round. So that's the main reason that this rule's in place. But because I lost both of these, then it didn't make a difference really. So because of that, I wasn't aware of that ruling at the time. I say I wasn't aware. I completely forgot about it. So what I did after this match is that I went back into the organisation chat that we have on Discord for this bracket and basically said, look, I accidentally used a striker, I completely forgot about the rule, and I'm going to forfeit this game, or this whole round. I was debating doing it there, but I thought I'd play it out just for content, just in case. But because I lost that, it turns out I didn't really need to forfeit. But I did it anyway, just to be fair. Since this was the second time it happened, I thought, well, I can't really get away with that twice, so I'm going to forfeit this one and then hope that I win the next one. So he places Doom here, I place Terex. He uses Claire for Terex, and I use Archangel. And now I have him trapped in the last round because I can just place Howard the Duck, and he has nobody for that. So here, 1 bleed, 1 poison, luckily, and then 3 neuros. And then then I have 3 up and don't get a single one. But yeah, overall this was pretty decent Archangel RNG, I think. Like, to start with it was anyway. And then I get to this point and... Was it this fight that had horrible RNG? No, it can't have been, because there was one fight here, or around this point, that I just couldn't get anything working for Archangel at all. I can't remember if that's already been or not, but that was... Yeah, it definitely wasn't that one, because that was a very good fight. And I definitely don't think he's going to beat that. And now, because of that, I have him trapped in this round. I think he might actually time out to it. No, never mind, he just finishes in time, but he did lose a lot of health there. Say that the time wouldn't have made up for how much, or even if he finished at 100% health, the time wouldn't have made up for it. And now I've got him trapped in this last round. Not that it matters, because I went and forfeited this one anyway and said, look, let's play on, because I accidentally used a striker, not knowing that because I lost it didn't make a difference. So I used Mojo for this mole man. It's a smart pick because I couldn't use a Nihilist since he'd shrug off all the debuffs. I mean, I could use him, but it'd take a little bit to get into the damage. Like, I'd have to get him into Frenzy, and then he couldn't shrug anymore. But I thought Mojo was just a safer option overall. I wanted to show off how good Mojo can actually be in this. See, the armors only last 3 seconds instead of 30 in anti-life field, which is pretty significant difference. So I tried baiting out this special one here. If he doesn't throw it, well, he threw it just afterwards, but luckily I got the dash back prompt, which kept me at 2, which I'm not sure if I'm happy about or not. It means I've ramped up slower overall, but I mean, I'm still constantly in anti-life field. I'm still making sure that the armors are, or the armor ups have their duration reduced a lot whenever they even come close to appearing. And because of that, I kind of took this fight a little bit slower, just made sure that was the thing to do, and also because I knew that my defender would finish off his attacker a lot quicker. Luckily I'm up to 5 now. Big special 2. The degen's just ticking away. Need him to throw the special 2, please, please. But I decided to just hit in, use a special 1, let the degen do its work. One more special one, and this is over. Not the fastest, not the cleanest, but I had him trapped with the defender. But because I forfeited this round, we're going to round 5. Or we're going to match 5, because... yeah, just because I accidentally used a striker. And I changed my bans a little bit for this one. I banned Hulkling instead, because at this point, again, I knew that I was struggling with mine a little bit. Like, I was struggling to keep up with everybody else's. And now I know kind of why. But I just don't really want them having that advantage over me, if that makes sense. Now, to start off with, I didn't really like the look of this draft. Like, I thought he definitely had the upper hand here. I think he places Thing first, yep. So I place Toad, yeah. To try and get him to use somebody, well, just because he didn't really have a counter to Toad. I think he actually ends up using Doom, which was quite surprising to me. And I use Wiccan for this. I know Wiccan can do this, but I'll be honest, going into this fight, I didn't realise it would be as slow as it was. And I think that's purely because of the rock stacks giving Thing extra energy resistance. But honestly, I thought that Doom would get, like, he'd take a lot more poison damage than he did against Toad. Also, one thing to note, I'm not that good with Wiccan. Like, I know the basics, but I'm not a professional. So, please bear with me. So, literally the plan's just to keep the neutralise up. If it falls off and he's above 5 hits on the hit me I dare you counter, then this is over for me. But luckily, I don't think I actually get to that point. I think I actually do a decent job in this fight of keeping it up. It's just it takes a long time. Like, we're about a minute in here and he's only just at 50%, which is not good. Like, I did have some sort of faith in my Toad as a defender. But I also wasn't really expecting him to finish the fight on as high health as he did. So finish with light there, special 2. Again, this is just a slog of a fight. I'm at 109 hits so far. And all I've been playing as aggressive as I possibly can. Trying to just get him down. Since I've got the neutralise up and I don't have to worry about the rock stacks. That was a hell of a long fight. And I get out and he didn't lose nearly as much health as I expected. So this is now a must-win situation for me. And I do kind of feel like that he's got the upper hand here. But he doesn't really have an amazing counter to Nimrod, so I ended up placing him. I honestly thought he was going to go for Torch. Then he places Civil Warrior, which kind of forces me to use my Howard. Because nobody else there can deal with Civil Warrior. So I choose Howard. And he goes with Null, which is probably his best option for Nimrod. Now, this might be controversial. I'm an auto masher. I'm not good enough yet at manually mashing. So I'm not even going to go down that alley. But yeah, for this one, I was just about to say I don't necessarily bother just parrying to start with to build up fury, since but since he gains armor ups every hit, and my goodness, that did a lot. Yeah, that took about 40% of my health just off of that. So from this point, I'm gonna try my hardest for him not to throw another special one. And if he does, it's game over. Because I've lost about 40% of my health just to that. But I was still expecting him to time out with the null. So there was some sort of hope. Oh, I accidentally... I don't know why I did that. I should have just heavy attacked, but because he had the armor ups, I didn't want to land another hit. So I parried to my special 3. Use it, and that finishes him off. 41,000 at this point. I think it's over already. But I'm not really confident in this at all. But to my surprise, he actually times out, which I say times out. I wasn't surprised about that, but I was surprised that I actually came out on top with that. Because if I'd have landed one more hit while he had armor ups, that would have been over. I would have lost too much health, and he would have won that. So now that that's out of the way, I kind of like my odds a little bit. So he places Runtra, and I place Nick Fury, and we both use Archangel. The part that kind of worries me here is that whoever gets the better RNG wins. But then he does also have to play around the second life. First heavy attack, no bleeds. Which is a good start to say that I need to win this one. And 3 heavy attacks, not a single neurotoxin. And I only get 1 off the 4th heavy. So I'm pretty much automatically going to take power burn damage, and there's no getting around it. While he has that armor up. Go for the close dex on the special 2. And now have no bleeds and poisons anymore. Yeah, this 2 hits with a 75% chance to poison, and neither of them do. Yeah, this isn't going perfect by any means. RNG's not... It's on my side, but it's not on my side. But I definitely know that he could have easily finished this by now. And I get out, and he's still not done. Which gave me a bit of hope. And then a bit of time passes, and I realise that he can't really have finished this at 100% and also won on time. And there it is. This made me so terrified for this. But anyway, that's going to do it for this one, guys. Thank you very much for watching. Take care, and I will see you in the next one.